Call the meeting of the 300th committee to order at 4:34. And we have Donna Smith-Bocash with us on Zoom, Don Alcombright, member on Zoom. And then we have three members from the Kingston 300 Book Committee. Could you state your names, please?
Thomas Vendetti.
Ken Brack.
Karen Guaribani.
All right, so if it's okay with the board, I'd like to move things around since we have members of the book committee here, if we can move them up to the beginning.
Perfect.
Is that okay? All right, so Ken, I don't know if you wanted to speak first, but I'll give you the floor.
Oh, thanks so much, John, and everyone. And real quickly, we've just been looking forward to gather with you here, some of what you're doing. John has been updating the historical commission, which Tom and I are members of, so we hear regularly. But and we saw some of your merchandise and some of some of the ideas to date recently. So we'd love to hear some more about that. And then also to introduce any of you and to Don and Donna, definitely through the KBA, we will be connecting more for the Kingston 300 book project. And there's a lot of updates. Our team is coming together. Content is coming in. Maybe start at the beginning. Our goal is to publish in September of 2025, would have pre-sales and such and holiday sales coming into the 300th year, and we're building a terrific team. But I'll stop there, Tom, if you want to jump in on updates, or Jan.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think we're doing very well. Things are moving along very rapidly, almost too rapidly for me to get a hold of. Because I'm trying to write articles, as Jan also is writing articles too, and we're researching. I think what we're still looking for though are articles. There are certain gaps that we have, and there may be gaps when it comes to the book itself. It's not going to be the history of Kingston. It's going to be a book about aspects of Kingston's history. Because we're diving in so deep, we'd have to have an encyclopedia to really do justice to what we're doing. So that's the first thing we're dealing with, and we're going to start, I guess, reading. I guess Ken is going to be our editor. Our
Lower level managing editor.
Yeah, right.
We have a project editor.
We have a project editor, right?
Yeah.
But Ken's going to be probably our guiding light on to what we move on to. Our content editor. And the other thing we're looking for, I think that we really need, at least in my point of view, is funding, because to get this thing off the ground is going to cost a lot of money to get printed. And we are absolutely confident to sell, because the kind of product that we're going to do is going to be quite lovely. And I think it will be attractive, and people will be attracted to it. And of course, the people will be another motivation. But so we're going to be thinking about that, about fundraising and going out to business leaders and so on, and to ask them to step up and help out in this very worthy project. So we're not quite there yet. We have a few steps to go, but we'll be working on that, I'm sure, in the coming months. So that's where we are, and we're meeting constantly, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it really is quite wonderful. I was in the Mass Archives today in Boston, so I mean it's just exciting. We're trying to.
And we'll give you the working title: Tales of Jones River Village, Kingston's 300 Years. Okay. So tales, as Tom said, we're not trying to replicate the deeper, longer historical text so much, but spotlight events and people who are compelling, who are of interest, whether it's 250 years later or 75 years later, and just some new perspectives, new voices for major eras, and new research such as Tom and others are doing. And we're just been fanning out all across town. We're getting a lot of portraits of artists. We'd like to do inventors, and going back to the earliest days when the mills were going, et cetera, and coming through time, and business portraits of, especially, family businesses, multi-generation ones, which there's of course many in this town. Another arc, if you will, there's several major arcs or themes. A big arc is the sacrifice and service, the prominence of veterans and support for them in this town. And that includes some tributes to people throughout various conflicts and families, things like that. So it's very exciting starting to pull this together. It's really coming up from the ground, and the team that we're, coalescing, just new people have come to us, and we really see this, and Don, to share with you, and I think we shared this with with other selectmen, but see it as a community building project too, and uniting, and we're just excited to be, alongside with what you're doing, and what you're planning, your events, the town's events and celebrations. Even things like one little example of that with the Reed Center 100th anniversary. Well, there's a lot of stories there, and Jan knows them better than probably anyone in this room, going back, and the old the films that were shown there, and the building itself, and the history of the Bailey Fields and Captain Bailey. There's a lot of components, and to refresh some people, inform other people newer to town, like myself, and just help people celebrate. So that's kind of the spirit of it.
That's great. John and I are not writing this whole book together. We're picking up-
You could.
We're picking up the little pieces in between. But what has been very, very interesting to me is the volunteerism of articles from many points of view that have been, things that, we could ride by every day, and how did that get there? And so forth. So that's been gratifying. A lady has done a piece with me on what it was like growing up on the Nook as a kid. So that's, 1900s to be sure. And so, but I have been personally I did a project at the library a few years ago on the 300 years of education in town. And it's too vast, and I've been trying to condense it. And so I have done as far as I can go, but now I have to put it back to let some of the eyes look at it and see what's important. But even I have learned things just doing this project that for years. I was just amazed. There were about 10 years that even though it's modern and we thought it was the best, we still think it's the best education, the vocational school, but the junior high classes, because of overcrowding and so forth, their whole program had to be condensed and so forth. And I don't think people, it's in the town reports, and we go to town meeting and so forth. That isn't quite, to be everybody's knowledge. I don't think we don't pay attention to some of those things. Parents do, kids do, but so it's a learning process, even for somebody who's lived here forever and delved into lots of the history. And are you aware that a lot of the reports and minutes of the 275th are at the library?
Yes,
Okay, because
thank you.
we have to get into that.
Okay. Very good. Does anyone on our committee have any questions for the book committee?
I had a question. Have you had, or do you have any contacts with Wampanoag people? Like,
Yeah,
because
sure.
we were hoping to get some representation on this committee from that community, and we haven't been successful in doing that. So wanted to extend it, and we haven't even had a person, I don't think, to extend that invitation to.
I did.
You did? Okay.
The chief of the Herring
Herring Pond.
Pond, yes, Melissa. I reached out to Melissa when we first started, and she said that she's extremely busy, but she may have someone, and to reach out again. And I sent
Yeah.
At least one email back to her and no response.
Okay.
But as the Plymouth, Patuxent and other places open up next month, I'm going to reach out to the town of Plymouth and those, to see if they're interested in doing anything with us, but with that, to see if they have anyone else with Wampanoags to assist with us, yes.
We are reaching out to several, including Melissa Peretti, and my sense is she, busy lives and trying to have an introduction or something. There's two other people, Paula Peters, who I heard of. She contributed a piece related to Plymouth's 400, the book that Duxbury did. Obviously an Indigenous perspective, very, very compelling, challenging point of view. She was involved with the Muddy Pond, kind of a return of some of that, the land around the pond to tribal stewardship, I think in partnership with the land trust, but she was involved with that. There's Linda Coombs is a person who suggested trying to reach out to her. So we certainly, we want to even perhaps begin the book with, with Indigenous voices and stewardship, because the book is really anchored, what is this place, the town that grew up on the Jones River, and all the resources that were and are here, and that stewardship.
It can be difficult to make contact with Wampanoag people. I remember years ago, I was trying to get in contact with them to perhaps have this has to do really with the Kingston Historical Commission, trying to contact them to find out if the Wampanoag people knew if there was a name for the church, a native name, for example, because we were considering actually putting a sign up. Well, that was we weren't considering, but that was a proposition that I had made to the committee to put a sign up on the Great Bridge that this is the whatever river that Europeans renamed the Jones River, and that Indigenous people fished here, which we all know that they did, and they had fish weirs and so on. And but
Adina was a marketing term that was made up.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I had people. I talked to people, and they just wouldn't come forward. They wouldn't.
They're small in numbers too. They're small in numbers, and I think a lot of people reach out to them as resources.
Oh, absolutely,
right?
absolutely. But one brief telephone conversation could have answered my questions. But it's difficult. They are busy, and also I think there's a little bit of suspicion as to ownership.
Right.
Do they want non-Wampanoag people to have ownership of knowledge? I can understand that, but this is very important. This was at one time inhabited by Indigenous people. And, I think it'd be a good idea to note that history.
You kind of think you'd want the true story or the best of knowledge had out there rather than these myths that float around. But they don't. I mean, they don't.
Yeah.
Maybe they. I don't think they're shy. About it.
Perhaps I totally agree.
I'm also curious about how much history has been lost.
Well, that's what I was wondering too, and how many of them are actually here and know some of the answers to these questions, because if some of them don't, they may not want to admit that they don't know all the answers.
Well,
So,
we're talking also about people.
yeah, well, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking also about people, Indigenous people who were here long before people
Right.
existed.
Yeah.
I think 10,000 years is thought ago has been thought of, and there were groups of people coming through here, and I think it would be great for people to know that there were many different peoples coming through here.
Yeah.
And then the Patuxents were here, and then many of them died out.
Right. Right.
So we are told by disease.
Mhm.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but I have to hop on another Zoom call in about 5 minutes. So I just wanted to introduce myself as Donna. Bocash, president of the Kingston Business Association. I spoke to Dawn yesterday about the Kingston 300. And the reason I reached out is because the Kingston Business Association is now more firmly partnering with the Plymouth Chamber of Commerce to support our local businesses and support the local community. With that being said, there's a lot of weight behind the Plymouth Chamber of Commerce. And that is the Zoom meeting that I'm going to be getting on in about 5 minutes, because we've set up an advisory committee to do a lot of things in Kingston to promote visibility, support small businesses, support the community. And one of the big events that we have coming up is the Kingston 300. So in partnering with them, we want to try to engage them as much as we can for support, for fundraising. They're able to work with entities that, we haven't been able to work with as an association in the past. Something for the downtown, maybe, showing our veterans and, working with cleanup days before the event begins and after the event, working with the parade. And we can help you with fundraising. We have a lot of social media sources. We have contacts with a lot of local businesses. And we can try to help provide support. I hope you don't mind, but I would like to attend some of your meetings so I can keep up to date on what the committee is doing, and try to support you as best as we can. And I work for Eastern Bank. I'm right on Main Street in Weymouth. So if you needed to contact me, Dawn has my contact information, or you can stop in anytime and see me. If you wanted to drop off any materials, I'd even be willing to put up signage and everything in the branch office to show what's going to be coming. So I'm here to support. Anything that you need, just let me know and we'll try to work with it together to get the Kingston 300, some major events going, bring a lot of recognition to the community and drive some business for our local businesses and honor all of the Kingston residents.
Great, thank you. And I think Dawn had spoken to you as well. You or any of the members are welcome to come to any of the committees, but we do actually have a spot for someone in the business community. So if anyone is interested, they want to reach out to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
They can have a member of the 300th committee.
All right, that sounds wonderful. I will most certainly, Dawn and I went over quite a few things yesterday. So, when we meet again, I'll actually try to come in person to one of the meetings so that we can talk and you can tell me what agenda items you want me or the Business Association or the Plymouth Chamber to work on. And we'll do as much as we can to make it a great event.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
All right. It was
All right.
very nice
Thank
to
you,
meet you
Donna.
all. Thank you for inviting me.
And we'll, I'm gonna try to hop onto your meeting once this one
Okay.
ends, depending on when it ends, but yeah.
Perfect. All right. Lovely to meet you all. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, Dawn.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's great.
Thanks, Dave. Any other questions? And just, I probably should have started with this, but just a little history between the two committees. And correct me if I'm wrong. The book committee is a private committee that was established to create a book on the histories, and like you said, more the personal histories in the town. And what you're going to do is, once this is done, you're going to turn all the rights over to the town of Kingston. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. And then the other side, we have the 300th committee, which is a town-sponsored committee. We are both working together, but just wanted to give the history of the two out there. Yes.
Can I make a comment about something that's a little bit aside from the book?
Sure.
In the 250th, there was and you may have about this before. Churches were open on Main Street, I think of the day, and people would walk up and down, could go in and meet representatives in the church, and it'd be about the history of the church and maybe displays of one kind or another. It'd be kind of a neat thing to consider in your calendar of activities.
We were actually hoping to incorporate that with the walking tour.
It could be, sure, like walking tour, something like that,
Right.
but to alert the churches, about that, I think it would be nice. I mean, I'm certain Mayflower, I know the minister down in Mayflower, he's a great guy. He'd be really into that. And I know the minister.
Might be involved. Stop.
We might have
She's
a
not.
Pretty good too. And
She's
I
a busy
know some
lady.
people up at the old Baptist church and I have connections in the Catholic church too, so.
Okay.
I don't know anybody from the Orthodox church, but I'm sure I can
You
find
can
out.
reach out.
But they were open for luminaries, the Orthodox Church, and
Yes.
then I shook the hands of whoever their, I don't know what term they use, priest, I guess, but there was a young guy there in a robe and
Yeah,
it
great.
seemed very friendly, so
Yeah, I'm sure that
Yeah.
was the first Catholic church in town. That
the
building.
Orthodox Church was? Oh, I didn't know
was a
that.
Catholic
Yes.
church.
Oh, okay.
The,
Second, after Bradford House.
Right, the next thing I wanted to talk about was, there used to be a thing called the Celebration of the Arts, which lapsed. I think for about 5 years, they did it back around maybe 2010 or, a little bit before that. And it was just, artists would come and people would play music and they would be making hot dogs on the grill and lots of people would be coming down. And they used the front of the parsonage of First Parish Church, and it was, but loads of people came, artists, and they did all kinds of things. That may be something that you could revitalize. I know that there's got to be artists in town still. I mean, it'd be something to explore anyway, a fun thing for people to get together. And I know that I can show you some of the posters they had, which were really quite beautiful, which I kept for the church, our church archive. There's a lot of our artists I knew. We kept them open staring at these people.
Now, do you know if that was free entry or if they charged?
Oh, yeah, it was
something?
free.
What about the thought of maybe for your committee, a small cover charge and use it for fundraising?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Something like that could be done and to help. That's a very good idea. But it would be something that could be somehow connected with the fact that we're 300 years old. But those are just two things I had on my mind recently. And I'll be glad to do the cemetery tours.
Okay. Very good. Anybody else have anything on the 300 book committee? Okay. And you're welcome to stay if you'd like for the rest of it.
Sure.
I don't think it's much longer. Let's see, so we don't have any meeting minutes to approve. Do anybody have any topics at all that they want to discuss other than our funding?
I do.
I just had a, oh, sorry.
Okay.
Good.
Go ahead.
I told you at the last meeting that I would bring the house tour materials that I had when the garden club did their house tour at Christmas time. And I want to work with the historic commission or representatives from the historic commission so that we could have a walking tour again. Following your format and contacting the people that are listed in those houses. I don't know the best way to go about doing it. And I said to John, I would like to meet with someone from your committee so that we can begin organizing and contacting people and seeing who would be interested in doing it, deciding when the best time is to do it. We had hours at Christmas time, and we had a tour booklet that listed all the houses, descriptions of the houses, and we sold advertising in the back to pay for the booklet. So when you said about your book, you were going to solicit businesses to
Yes,
pay for your book, are you going to do that same thing, get advertisement for the back?
they
Or
will be recognized in some way. Exactly how, we have not decided yet. Regarding a tour, now, the historical commission, in the past, worked on
Yes.
reinvigorating the tour, and extending it a little bit. Are you thinking of publishing a booklet like
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe
Yes.
you and I should get together, take a look at
Yes.
what I have. I have all the files
Great.
that we did on that.
Mhm,
You and I could meet, just take a look at the plot. We could even walk it
mhm.
when the ice is off the ground, and take a look at it.
Right, I want to, that's my goal, is to
Yeah.
have a walking tour.
Right, and you know who else we really have to talk to is Jan, because she knows those houses. She knows the houses up and down far better than I
Great,
do.
great.
And any kind of walking tour, I think you'd have to take a look at the list that we looked at.
See what
There may be
works.
some things that are repetitive that, well, you don't have to go there, but you should go to this place. This is
Right.
important, that kind of thing. You know what I mean, Jim?
Right.
Because Jan really, that's one of her expertise.
Well, I thought there could be a subcommittee for this tour.
Absolutely, yeah.
If Jan and
Right.
you and whoever,
Right,
and
right.
that we could work together to
Yeah.
formulate the tour.
Yeah.
And my concern is the sooner the better, so that we're
Yeah.
not running into
Yeah.
scrambling at the last minute.
Right, right.
And I had the walking tour houses listed here. I don't know if those are the ones that but anyway, so that's why I wanted to talk about it so that we could
Oh,
get
yeah.
things moving, that's all.
Yeah, we just thought when we looked it over, we thought that there were some other houses that could be added easily
Mm-hmm,
that may be interesting, but,
mm-hmm.
I think Jan really should.
Great.
Jan, you probably have a copy of that anyway, don't you? The old walking tour.
This-
booklet? All right, I'll
It's
make sure
online.
you get
This
that.
is, is that what you're looking for?
It's that.
Yeah, it's
I think I
online.
I think I have a
It's
couple.
online?
It's online. It
It's
doesn't,
online, yeah.
it doesn't print well. The first time I printed it, it looked like that, but then I changed the orientation. So it's a little easier to read.
Yeah.
So, Jean Landis Nauman gave me a copy and it was fine. It was full page, but I couldn't find it.
I know.
So I went online and printed out my own and I couldn't get it to work any bigger.
Yeah.
I'm not real techy, so.
Um,
So that was the best I could do. In fact, do you want this copy?
Kingston.gov, I can look it up.
Oh, you can have this because I can make another one. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, that's it.
Why don't you take that one and then I'll just make another one?
Where did you find
Because
it?
I don't. really-
Where was it online though?
It's-
It said Kingston Walking Tour under
It's right on
Town
the-
of
it should be-
Kingston or something. I don't,
Right on the
to be honest
town
with you,
website.
Jana, I don't.
Oh, it was the historical
Yes.
commission.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can shoot me an email and, let me know,
Oh, good.
when you want
Well,
to have me.
I'm open to whenever you, I'm retired. I can be flexible.
Well, yeah, you just.
But I got a million things. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
No one's ever busy with them.
We all do,
Right?
right? We all do.
And Jan, also should meet
Yes,
if she
yes.
has time. so.
Well, John recommended Lynn.
Lynn Pereira had also shown some interest,
Oh, yeah,
in joining this committee and or doing the
Yeah.
walking tour, so.
Yeah.
We can reach out to her.
Whatever you think, I'm not trying to be pushy, but I'm very eager to make it happen. So
Oh, I-
I'm at your
yeah.
It's not
disposal.
pushy, it's organized.
Well,
Yes.
and I want to make it happen. I
Yeah.
feel strongly about it. I'm new to Plimpton, to Kingston. I was in
Are you coming
Plimpton.
from Plimpton?
I was in Plimpton for 15 years, so, but I did a tour in Plimpton, so I do have experience, and then I did this one this year and with the garden club, so I kind of have a feel for how to do, you
Sure.
know? But I do feel that the more time we have to plan, the better, and interested people, if we can pull them together, we can make it happen. So,
right. There was early talk, if I recall, the possibility of having like, the tour and maybe, putting it not printed in the book, but somehow including it in the book,
Mhm.
just as an add-on. But I don't think that really
I
went anywhere, and I don't know exactly how that sort of thing would happen, but, you know.
I personally think people would enjoy having a booklet to take home that will tell them about the houses and the
Oh, yeah,
history
absolutely.
involved. So
Absolutely.
if you put it in your booklet, that's fine too, but I'm saying, I think people, I
Oh,
know I
totally
would,
agree. Yeah, you
I
gotta- you
would
gotta
like
have
to
that.
have
Yeah.
a copy myself,
And
so
they
that's
should be
why
right
I'm
at
so
town hall.
anxious.
Somebody comes into
Right.
town and says, I'd like to know more about Kingston. Oh, here's a
Yes,
wonderful.
yes.
Start at this
Yeah.
particular place.
Yeah.
And, oh, yeah. It's a lot of.
So I feel strongly about the need to make it happen.
Okay.
Being new to
Okay,
Kingston,
so-
I want to
Yep.
know about it myself, so that's where I'm at, Tom. Thank
Right.
you.
We
Could
had
you give me-
someone come to the Bradford House breakfast this year. We were just setting up,
Mhm.
and they said that they were, their goal was two young women. Their goal was to visit every town in Kingston, going in alphabetical order, and they got to K. We're the only town.
Yes, it does.
Yes, yes.
They had, I don't know whether they had seen this or not, but they came without any extra knowledge to know that on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning, I can't remember which it was, but that everything wasn't open
Right,
continuously. you
Right,
know.
right.
So, but they did find us and, but we couldn't even let them in the Bradford house because we hadn't cleaned it yet. So, but there are people out there who do.
And people who are interested, that's what I'm saying. I'm new to Kingston. I've only been here 3 years and I'm very interested in learning the
Very cool.
history.
Yeah.
And there's so much here. So I think there are other people in my position that would enjoy having that information.
Yeah,
So
what's your name again?
my name's Chris, Chris, like Christmas.
Yep.
Last name Maiorano, Maiorano. And you want a phone or an email or both? 781-336-9113.
Yeah, I'll dig out the files and I think I think I have them all digitalized. I think they're,
Okay.
I mean, I have them in my
Yeah, yeah.
external hard drive.
I just would like to get things started, that's all, because it's gonna take time.
I'll send the same, I'll make sure that Jen gets the same file,
Okay,
you know.
well, maybe I should be connecting with her as well, and when does it work?
Absolutely.
Yeah, when does it work best for you, Jan?
Yeah.
To get together? Are you a daytime person or have you got a lot of commitments?
Not a lot, but most days I can wiggle something in.
Okay, well, that's how I am too. I teach English today. I taught English with the immigrants. That's an interesting experience. Interesting. Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love
that's
it. I
great.
love it. It's
Yeah.
so exciting. But anyway, so yeah, we can work something out, I'm sure. I'll be flexible because I feel it's important. So.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it makes you push it, I just think it makes you qualified to be
Well,
the chair.
Yeah, watch out, you're gonna be in charge of everything if you don't
Keep my mouth shut.
keep
yeah.
talking.
But I do
So-
feel
Get more to
it's
do.
just I'm passionate,
Oh, I love it.
passionate about it. So good. So thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Dawn, I think you had something,
Yeah,
but first,
yeah, I just,
did you ever find out if we are allowed to create the subcommittees from this committee, or if we have to go through the selectmen?
that's a good question. I believe I got that answered. Let me see if I can find that email.
Because if we can, we can start creating the subcommittees right now.
Jan, do you have contact information so I could call you and set up a?
Pass me the piece of paper now.
Yeah, well, okay, you can have it right on the back of that. Do you need a pen? She's.
One of the things that we talked about, the Kingston Historical Commission, was that there are some very important homes outside of the walking tour,
Okay.
all right?
Mhm,
You know, like the Willett House,
mhm.
like the General Thomas House on the top of Thomas Hill on Route 3A.
Yeah.
And those would be outside, but they're places that people should know
Yes,
where they are
yes.
and exist.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We need to get this rolling because it's
Yeah.
gonna take time. And I know Laurie Ruiz, who is living in the old townhouse. And I've spoken with her already about being on the house tour. And I don't know how receptive she is, but that's what I'm saying. I think people need to know and we need to find out where they stand. Because I think that would be a wonderful place to be able to get into too.
Well,
With the jail downstairs
I'm
and
not sure what they've done. to the house,
it's
so,
very
you
modern. I know,
know,
I know.
I mean,
I know.
the fellow who lived there before.
Yes, Bates.
Preserved it.
Bates, what a great guy, and his
Mhm,
wife.
his wife.
Beautiful.
They were lovely
wonderful
people.
woman.
They were in Garden Club, so.
They basically restored the
Yes,
house, did very
yes,
minor changes, but I'm not sure. what the Ruiz
I
did.
know, I know,
And
I
you can
know.
do the same thing with a walking tour of the house we just pictured. So you could take the pictures that have been collected about the interior.
Mhm.
Interior of something. Because
Yeah,
even
there's-
back 20 years ago, or before this building was built, few people knew there was a stage in there, and it was every high
Right.
school graduation until.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Reed was built in
Okay.
1926.
Oh, well,
Okay.
Because they had rearranged things like that.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I think in the archives, there are pictures enough so that you might be able to conjure up the.
Even if it was a
side
display
entrance
inside the house.
downstairs,
Yeah,
to the,
yeah, it'd be neat.
There's a lot of history in that. The walls had ears.
Frederick Douglass spoke in that.
Oh, really?
Really?
He did.
See, those are
Wow.
awesome things,
It is
people.
awesome.
It is awesome. People will love to learn it. So I feel very strongly. I'm really excited about that.
And if they're
Thank
not
you, Jan.
agreeable to open their house to the public.
That's
we
what
could-
I'm afraid of.
Well, the font school is right across the street,
Yes.
so we could set some sort of display about that house, just
Oh, that's
so
a good idea.
it's within eyesight
Yep.
Yeah.
of the building, so they
Mhm.
can see the building and we can display,
Mhm, mhm.
have a display at the fonts. I
Yep.
think.
Well, I think the font should be open too,
Oh,
because.
well, the time
Definitely.
capsule is at the fonts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe the powder house will be done
The
by
powder
then.
house
too.
hopefully-
Yeah, right. How many years?
Or another 100 years.
Dawn, did you want to go?
Yeah, so first off, I don't have an email from it. I think I talked to Keith. I could have sworn I said that they said it has to go through us.
Okay.
But I'll verify that today and get back to you tomorrow.
Okay.
That being so I just had two quick things. One of them was obviously Missy left the group. Do we get all the merchandise situation? Because I think she was in charge of that, right?
Yes, she kind of gave it to me temporarily till I can find somebody else.
Okay,
So we do have it stored here in this building, right
Okay.
now. And I did reach out earlier to, Firefly, but I haven't heard back yet to, make sure that people that do order can pick up there. So as soon as I get that clarification, I'll let everybody know.
okay.
We'll find out if we made any sales of our,
I asked that, I left her a
So
message
you're
with
looking
that
for that,
too.
okay.
So with both of those information, yes.
thanks, Jim.
And then what else did you have, Dawn?
The other thing was, do we have an actual, I forget, did we set a parade route or are we just kind of guessing ideas right now?
So what was discussed last time was very similar to the one we have. Unless we can find a way to extend it a little bit more down, Southern Main Street. The only problem is I know the, stores on the town line, they used to start the parade there, and I believe that they no longer give permission to the town of Plymouth. So they use the old Cottage Park. I don't know if that could be an option for us and we could extend it. If not, we would probably have to use the elementary school just to have room to have, because it will be larger than the Memorial Day parade. So we need to have some sort of parking lot so we can house people and get everything set up. So the last discussion was very similar to Memorial Day, but I personally would like to see it a little bit longer if we could.
Okay, and then, so the main reason I was asking that was we should probably make note of it at some point in the spring or summer. We might want to start assessing the route and make sure if there's anything town owned that, needs money put into it because, this is gonna be walked over and there's, a 6-foot hole in the sidewalk or things like that. We might want to start that process for budgeting purposes.
Sure. A lot of the road, and even if we extended it, is state road, but we do have some sections at our town road, so definitely want to do that. And I know some of the concern with the Memorial Day Parade Committee was some of the, electrical work that's been done recently and how there was still some holes and some of the poles have mounds of dirt and stuff, so we were interested in getting that cleaned up for Memorial Day, so hopefully within the next few years, we can get all that taken care of as well.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to think ahead of, hopefully nothing needs anything budgeted, but just if it does, it'd be good to be ahead of it, not behind it.
Bridge.
Like,
The
there are
rails.
plans, but I doubt it will be done by then, yeah.
We had the money. Biden gave us the money. Biden had the money.
Yeah. All right. Any other topics before we, discuss funding? No?
No, I think the only other quick thing I would mention is, and I'll continue working with the KBA on it, but I think the sooner we get out to businesses, kind of the same thing, in 2 years, clean up, present the buildings, things like that. This is our anniversary kind of thing. The sooner we get out to them, the better, I think.
Yes.
But get out to them, what do we need to get out to them? Like, we
Yeah.
want money, we want X amount of dollars for this event, for the committee itself to decide how the money gets spent. Like what?
Well, there's the fundraising side, definitely. I'm also talking about just like the, like downtown businesses or things like that wanna, maybe it's an incentive to them to clean up how their location looks because there's gonna be more foot traffic and more potential business. And just so the reality is there's probably a lot of businesses that have no idea that Kingston 300th is coming up. So just start getting that information out, I guess was my point with that.
It might even be nice to put together like sponsorship packet of some kind with all kinds of information, schedule. I don't know if we're gonna do a poster of events or whatever, we've got a ways to go before we get to all that stuff, but a packet of information, that we can give them if we're gonna ask them for money and ask them as Don's ideas, which I think is a good one, is to, hey, this is coming up. Would you like to maybe spiff things up outside your store
Yeah.
and get ready for this? And how do you want to help and how do you want to engage? So, yeah,
Well,
it's a good idea.
That just gave me an idea, maybe possibly like a townwide flyer to businesses. Just to
Yeah,
send it out and say what our
Planning.
ideas are and stuff like that, and then that will give them the idea that,
yeah,
you know, gonna be coming back in the future. Do you need
Yeah.
anything? We may need something from you. So.
like a big save the dates. plural.
Exactly, yes.
Yep.
Right?
And whatever we know, we can put on there, whatever we don't know, we, but we can just
What's
say
coming.
the descriptor of what it is, when roughly it's happening, and just kind of put it out there. Yeah,
Yeah, is that website and Facebook?
Mhm. yeah.
So I did speak with Kathy Lenatra, and
Great.
I did specifically ask how the current budget cuts are gonna affect stuff in the future. So she was very honest, and she said she's never been through 9C cuts before. So she's not sure how it will affect in the future, but she said if we come up with a preliminary number, she'll put it as a request next year, and if we don't get it, she'll put it in the following year. So we do have 2 years to try to get some money. I did do a couple of preliminary budgets, one for the parade and one for the Old Home Day and the fireworks. And then I actually wanted to speak to you about the flyers you did and see what we got for cost for that. But I reached out to Halifax, and I apologize, I didn't do that until the last few days, so I haven't heard back yet. I'm trying to get the cost that they have for their fireworks and stuff. I know the town of Plymouth spends approximately $120,000 on the parade and the fireworks to combine. So that's
We're talking about 4th of July.
4th of July,
Yeah,
yes.
right.
So it's a little different than what we're looking for. But I was looking more for the exact cost of the fireworks itself. I was able to break down some what we'll need for fire department details, police details, and some porta potty rentals and stuff like that. And that's roughly about $15,000 right now. And then from what I'm hearing, some of the 20-minute to half an hour shows are approximately $40,000 to $60,000, but I don't have an exact number in there. So I can't say for sure what.
So
exact
20
fireworks are.
minute shows are, would you say that again?
So
please?
20 to a 30-minute show is approximately 40 to
60.
60,000, depending, yep, by a professional company. So even if we broke the middle there and did like 55,000, that's gonna give us, that's about 65,000 for the Old Home Day details, police, fire, porta potties and that, but that doesn't count anything else that we want for money for the Old Home Day. You know, are we gonna ask businesses for food, or are we gonna have food in charge? So, there'll still be some costs incurred with that. Again, we do have somewhat of a budget, and we'll be doing some fundraising, but I'd like to get a preliminary number out so we at least can get it into the state.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, I have a preliminary budget for the parade. And I'm also the chair of the Memorial Day Parade Committee, so I'm basing it off of some of the stuff like that. And I've also expanded a little bit. So with the Memorial Day Parade, we kind of ask forgiveness instead of permission. We're supposed to apply for a state permit to shut down the roads. We do it very quickly. We don't, but because this parade will be longer, we will have to apply a state permit. That might force them to have us use state police as well. So that could double the cost. So I did,
We never had to when we did the, I was on the committee for the Kingston Turkey Trot.
yep, they never made you good.
They did not.
Yes, I'm hoping
It's
they
hard
won't.
enough to get details. They
Yeah,
didn't.
I'm hoping they won't, but you never know if they
Right.
would. So I kind of doubled the thing. So that's about $8,000 for police details. The possibility of having 3 bands. Bands are anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 now. Hopefully the Silver Lake Band, which I believe has minimal, if no cost. So we wouldn't have to worry about that. But if we do 3 bands and we have to pay, it's about $6,000. What we do for Memorial Day is we put our veterans on a trolley, and it's an open window trolley so they can see. So again, that cost has gone up. We pay just over $1,000 now, so I added a little bit more for the next 2 years, so that's $1,200. If we have fire department or police vehicles, they sometimes they used to be volunteer, now some departments are paid detail. So I put $3,500 in there for that. So that's just under $19,000 for that.
Total for the parade.
For what we have now, again,
Estimate.
and I'm basing a lot of that, like I said, off the Memorial Day Parade. I don't know if some other floats or groups that come in, if they will charge, so we might need some more money for that. Yep. Now, with the flyer, I know you said you sent out to businesses and they pretty much covered the flyer, but do you know what?
My
the-
booklet, you mean?
The booklets,
My
yes.
booklet,
So if we
yes.
do a booklet for the walking tour, do you know how much it was cost?
I don't know, the big thing was the printing, it was over $300, and we collected that much with our ads, but we didn't have that many ads, we only had like eight ads, 10 ads.
How many did you have printed out?
125,
125.
150, excuse me,
150? Okay.
150, thinking. Yeah, so it cost me over $300 for 150, but it's all color.
Okay,
And
It doesn't have to
costs-
be.
Printing costs have gone.
Yeah. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be color.
I did some online research really quick
Mm.
and for flyer development and printing, and it didn't specify color or not.
Mhm.
For 100, it was 140. So it sounds about right in color and stuff like
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I paid over
Um,
300 for 150.
How do you think we would need for a walking tour? You think?
It depends upon how many pages too, based on the number of
Well, it
sites.
depends upon the type too. You want a booklet or do you want like a fold out, like the old one was a fold out. It was kind of like.
Yeah, that's an option.
Like an accordion.
It was like,
Right.
yeah, like an accordion.
Right,
like
yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
And I mean, you'd open
But
it up.
that's not very many houses, right? See,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Oh,
I
there were a
don't,
lot of houses on. that
on
one.
your, okay,
On the old.
But does it have, does
Yes.
it have the list of the histories with it? Like
Yeah.
hers-
Yes.
Hers
It
had
had
a brief one.
Every house
Okay.
has a page and a
Quality.
picture, yeah.
right.
Of the information, I don't know. That would be up to Jan to take a look at it.
Yeah.
But she'd know a lot of these houses, she'd know immediately
Right,
what,
right.
you know, what to say about them.
Well, if we are given a limit, we'll just work within it,
Okay, so.
you know, don't you think? I mean, if you say $500 because you're gonna print a lot more than 100.
Yes.
Like I did 150, you're gonna print a lot more than that. So if we were told, well, your limit's 500 or 1,000 or whatever, we just work within. I mean, it would depend upon what you set for a budget.
What would we like to request for this? Because again, we'll hear this back, probably.
I mean, our
by
booklet
the
was-
fall. So that will give us
Way
time to
more.
adjust if we need to
Mhm.
raise our own money, but what would we like to request for this
But,
year?
but, again, if you charge people to go on this house tour, you're gonna
It'll pay
take
for some of
in,
it, yes.
yeah. We ended up making $3,000 after our expenses, paying for this.
Okay.
And we charged $25 a person, which I didn't think was a lot,
Mm-mm.
so.
We
I
could
mean,
still
I
put in
don't-
$500 for it, just to cover the
Mhm.
cost, and then, you know.
Mhm.
Do you think 500 is enough? Yeah.
It depends, if you want color, no,
Then-
but if we do, like Tom said, just a trifold in black and white,
It's gonna wind up in somebody's bureau eventually. I mean, you know.
not my bureau. but-
But you know what I
But I
mean.
No, I
like
do,
the color
I
of
do.
printing. I think if you
It's
look at
very-
each page,
It's,
like, I
it's-
mean, it's a really lovely presentation.
Oh, It's
You
it's
know, so
absolutely beautiful,
the color.
but you know, that's.
But it was high end.
We'd have to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'd
yeah.
have to have 10
It was
times
high end,
of
but
it.
The
I-
color advertisement's also really attractive as well. I don't know.
More
Again,
appealing for businesses to. put
I was
that
saying,
in.
like you said, you always, ask for forgiveness later instead of permission
Yeah.
first. Let's go ahead and ask for the money now and then we'll spend it
So
later.
how about $1,000?
Yeah,
yeah, that's
So
that's
put-
very
put 1,000.
generous.
I can always say no.
Well, and Jan will decide. I mean, she's the one with the knowledge. I'm just basing it on what I did, but that doesn't
Yeah.
mean we have to do this. We only had 5 houses. I mean, I am
and I think
assuming
there's
there's a
two
lot.
different things. One is a house tour and one's a walking tour.
Right, so
Well,
right?
it's still a house tour though. It's just you
Okay.
won't require parking and transportation. You'll park at the library or wherever and
Mhm.
just walk it.
but the amount of
Whereas ours was-
information, I think what she's saying is the amount of information in there might be more, because it's not just the houses, it's also. if it's
This is
walking
a lot
tour.
of information.
Right.
Yeah,
There would be.
so ours will be bigger.
It's 2 different kinds of tours
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
You can only have a house tour like once a year. I mean, people aren't gonna open their house every
Yes.
weekend, you know.
Well, that's my concern. Do we want this walking tour to have people go into these houses? That's why I'm thinking we need to start early to see if we're gonna get enough people that are willing to open their
But that's
houses.
a one-time deal.
Mhm.
You're not gonna have
Yes.
people wanting to
Yes.
do it more than once. But if you're gonna put up 1,000 of these things, that's for only a walking. That's something that a person can do any weekend. or-
Without going inside the
Without
house.
going
Oh, yeah,
inside.
that's a zero.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need two separate. You need two separate ones.
Yeah.
And
So
also-
I will pay $30
To go in and see these houses. So, yeah, that's what we need
Yeah.
to decide. Is
And
it just
also-
gonna be a walkthrough? Or is it gonna be a go in and see?
Yeah.
Or is it
And
both?
also, what kind of house?
I think it's two different things, yeah, like have a special.
Walking tour that, because in here, there's a lot of the historical buildings. they're not
Yes.
all houses.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's like the historical walking tour of Kingston.
I think
And
we'll
you're
know
thinking
better
historical
once we
houses,
start to
right.
plan and we inquire what people are going to enable us to do.
Yeah.
If they will let us go in, let's go in, but if we're gonna find a lot of negatives, that's the way Laurie Ruiz was with the townhouse. She didn't want any, but she said, I just moved here, I'm not ready to have people.
Yeah,
come in."
right,
No,
right, right.
So,
and
we may
people are-
find-
Are more liability. worried.
Exactly,
That's
that was a
another thing,
big
yes.
thing with my,
Yeah.
half of my garden club didn't wanna do this. They were, no, you're dealing with liability, with insurance,
But
with
they did
theft,
one
damage.
historically That with, more houses that you had to drive, you
Yes,
know, around
yes.
and so forth. And,
Yeah, a lot of my, but once we did it,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
it was awesome.
Yeah,
And I said, I told you, I said, I've done this before. It's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so we need to make that decision. Is it just gonna be a walk or is it gonna be a go in? Is it?
Well, they could be two different kinds of things. A lot of house tours, you go in because it's a pretty house. Oh, look at it, it's decorated for
But the
Christmas or
history's
whatever.
in there, the chimneys and the,
Right. I know, but some
Mm-hmm.
houses are like Dave McKee's house. You go in there,
It's all
and it's like going
changed.
back 300 years,
Yeah.
It's like real
yeah,
antique,
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Little, you got a duck when you go through the doorway and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And that's the kind of house I want to go into.
Same,
I'm not
right.
interested in
Exactly.
Seeing all the pretty,
but that's what it
Christmas
was in
decorations.
Plimpton. We had 5 antique houses. Mine was 1750, someone else was 1720. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling, it was so fun and it was so well received.
Yeah.
So that's why, to walk down the neighborhood road is lovely, but to really make it, and you
Yeah.
can collect more.
Yeah.
Ticket wise,
Oh, yeah.
if you've
Oh, yeah.
got something
Exactly.
that's gonna
Right.
appeal to
you
people.
know,
So-
Woodside, the Brewster House on Brewster Road, is it? Brewster Road, right? Kind of, not exactly across from the Stop and Shop, but it's that road down there.
Okay,
That's old.
Old.
They've done, because, that was carefully done.
preserved
inside
and, yeah,
Like
yeah.
professional people knew what they were
Oh,
doing
nice.
inside.
and
And it's
that's
very old, it's
so-
like
That's
1695 or
so,
something.
yeah, that's so
Yeah.
worth it to have people go in and see.
Oh, yeah, that's worth it. And the
There's
fellow.
some
who-
barns I'd like to
Fellow
go
who lives
into.
there
Yeah.
would be, I think. It could be willing to do it. I'm not saying he would be willing to do it, but he loves the antique.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
one of
great to get
ours,
started to, come up with the list
That's
and
what
start
I'm- yeah,
contacting
yeah,
people and
that's
see what we come up with.
this one, was a general store. This is the barn that HGTV did over
Yes.
on.
Oh, the one on
Green-
the edge of the cemetery, yeah, I
yes,
saw
yes,
that, I saw
yes.
that episode.
And so, and
Yeah.
she let us come in and what they've done, so,
I
yeah,
think I saw pictures of the inside.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The ceiling opens
Right,
up
right,
and,
right.
oh, it's
Really cool.
awesome.
It
It's
is
awesome. It's awesome. So like I said, I would like to put together whenever the selectmen can agree to have a
Yes.
group of us to get rolling. As
And we-
long as Jan's agreeable, she's the one with all the information.
I know where to find the information. It's not all, believe me, it's not all here, but, I think it's, we're gonna have to decide where and how much, and if it's gonna be walks, that limits the,
Remember-
like, street or
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
Remember, everyone can meet when it's not 3 people. So you guys can definitely start ideas and everything, and then once we figure out if the selectmen have to appoint it
Have
or.
conversations with,
does.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah,
when Tom
you
can
can at least
talk,
start the process. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
if the 3 of you can't meet yet.
Well, actually,
Okay.
they can meet because they're not
But
a committee.
it's not a formal.
Go have coffee.
But once they're a
Yeah, go
committee, you
have
can't have more than
a
3.
bird and have
Yes.
breakfast one day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, thank you, Don.
I believe the proper term is working group.
Yes, working group. Yep.
Working.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
Exactly.
moving on with the
Oh.
fundraising. Did you have something else, Don?
No, well, it's more idea for just overall, but I don't know if you want to do it now or go to another section first or.
This is
This
it,
is
right?
it.
yeah, no.
Yes.
Here's right now, so.
And I'm happy to take the lead on this, but one of the other things I've been thinking about, and I think we had briefly discussed like a scavenger hunt,
Yeah.
Yep,
kind of thing, but also more of a kind of not necessarily a scavenger hunt, but like a more in Kingston kind of thing, where maybe we could look at places in Kingston, trails or specific homes that are, historic or whatever the items may be, and kind of think of like whether it's, a plaque, a little stand that gives off, but kind of so people can go to different places and go to and learn about the area that they're going to, and kind of make it, for lack of a better term, almost like an interactive game where a family can go out and they go to this bog and they find the plaque, and then they go to this next bog, they find the plaque, and kind of learn all of Kingston by doing that.
Great
Well,
idea.
I'm not saying we want to plaster, little codes around everywhere, but the Historical Commission of Veterans have been discussing that, for the veterans monuments and some of the veterans gravestones, putting little QR codes on with all the information. So that's something we could do at some of these locations. And everyone can just find it right online.
Okay, yeah, no, it's just I'm happy to kind of take a stab at some ideas or places where we could start it. But that's kind of a summer thing for families and stuff to do is let's go check out Smelt Pond, let's go check out, Jones River Trading, things like that.
Right.
The whipping post.
Where was that?
It's right near it's near the screen, you know.
Oh, okay. And Don, with that, maybe, talk to our conservation agent.
Yep.
Matt, and see what, you might have some ideas on that.
Yeah, I figured I would talk to Matt for trail side, historic for that side.
Yeah.
And then any little things. And like you said, it can be as simple as a QR code, or it could be, I'm trying to think of I'm thinking of it from the trail perspective where they have like those little kiosks, but
Right.
a QR code makes a lot more sense. The only thing we would ever really have to do is have a weatherproof container for it so that, it can be out there for a while.
Yeah.
Cool.
Elimination.
Or you could have something like, you have a smartphone and you simply go to the site, and it gives you the directions of where to go. Number one, drive to such and such a street, and you just follow it, and then you press the button on your smartphone and it tells you about it. So I mean, I know they've done things like that in cemeteries where you have to use your smartphone and it'll take you to certain graves, historic cemeteries.
Yep.
It's another possibility.
Yeah, it's almost like it's kind of like a geotagging thing, but not necessarily geotagging, but I think it would be a cool thing for families, because we could even start that, this summer and, expand it as we keep going.
Right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Great.
Good.
So so we've covered Old Day, the parade, the walking tour, the balls, whichever we decide to do, those should cover themselves with the cost, right? So that's there. If we do a road race, that should cover itself with the cost. What else do you think we would need possibly upfront for funding?
The gala, did you talk about the gala?
Oh, the
That would
ball.
be self-funding.
Gala ball.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
kept saying
ball,
ball, and
you
I
said
thought, I'm
ball.
thinking
Sorry.
around.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I did it first too. Then I'm like, no,
Yeah,
we were
Galen.
talking about the party.
Yeah, gotcha. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, so that would be self-funded, but ticket sales.
Right.
And
Would
where
cover
will the
costs.
ball be?
We're looking for options. Yeah.
Yeah,
We were thinking of possibly doing the year of at the Reed because of the 100th. It's just, we need to look a little more into it because of logistics, and there's no kitchen there anymore and
Right.
stuff. So, we may end up doing another function at the Reed to celebrate the 100th year instead of doing the gala there.
and
What
maybe,
is
yeah,
Jones River?
Jones River
charge?
charge.
Yeah, it's
That's
Are
a
they
very good.
pricey?
The
The library's
the
about to
event is
have
there.
their
Yeah,
thing there.
that's what
Yeah.
made me think.
I
Yeah.
don't think they're any more pricey than anywhere else, but there's been
Okay.
several of town functions there,
Okay.
so they are friendly with the town, yes.
Nice parking.
Yep, plenty of parking.
Nice venue.
Yeah.
Yep, we've had some, the fire department had their, 125th
Oh, yeah.
anniversary.
Oh, right,
um,
okay.
Oh, good.
ball
So you
there.
know.
Yeah, so,
Another
Um,
place where you could put a little history,
Right.
Red Mills, and
Mhm,
going back to the first grist mill was right on that
like
spot.
that.
mhm.
Awesome.
Good.
Yeah. So if we didn't have anything else to add to that, with our current budget left, we spent a little bit, we still have approximately 34,000. Everything that we've added up so far, and again, there's gonna be more, is approximately $84,000. So if we deduct the 34 we currently have and then consider some more fundraising we're gonna do, we're about $50,000. So I don't know what the state would actually, if they have a limit or not.
We're about $50,000 more to run,
What we
to
would need,
raise.
yeah.
Raise, yeah.
So, I figured I would throw the, if the board accepts it, I'd throw the number of $50,000 out to
Kathy.
Representative Lenatra, and she can go up or down how she sees fit with what she
Yeah,
requests
Just
to
ask for
say.
75K.
You wanna ask for 75?
Yes.
We can
Yeah.
ask for that, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, cause we
Give
do
us
have
a
more than
buffer.
we're gonna
And
need.
let her go down from there.
Exactly.
Alright.
Don't start at our low
If we
point, you're
ask for
at.
50, we're gonna get less,
Yes.
so. If we
Okay.
get, yeah, no matter what we
Good
get, it'll be
idea.
less, so yeah.
Okay, so anything else? Dawn, have you had a chance to discuss any more with the brewery in the center yet about possibly doing a, collaboration with a beer?
Not yet, but I've talked to Steve Darby and I've talked to Paul. They both seemed interested. So it's really, at this point, it would probably come down to when we'd think we'd want to, start that. I mean, on their end, it's probably, a month for them to narrow down a brew that they want to make and so forth. So it's really a matter of if it's definitely something that we're interested in doing, when we would want them to start launching something like that, and then we can go from there on. They both seem very interested in it, so.
So you're saying we need to have a working group there?
Yeah, I mean, if we, what I would say is if we want to fully have, if we want to fully go down that path, then I can definitely start working with them on creating something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we've had that discussion here and we thought that was a good idea. So if you'd like to continue with that.
Yep.
Great.
I think beer is a huge part of the history of Kingston, isn't it? And there are taverns and people's basements all up in.
Rum may have been a
Rum?
little bit
Well,
more,
yeah.
Really? Ah,
not sure.
and export?
So,
Export, import.
What era you were talking
Oh,
about?
okay, all right,
There was a little importation there in the Depression days.
okay.
Prohibition,
there was a murder because of it too.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's-
We imported a few, legal or not.
Yes.
On the beach, didn't they?
Yeah. Don't tell all the
Question
secrets
one.
in our book.
Right?
All right, so the final thing I have on the agenda is recruitment. And just to speak on that briefly, as you all know, we lost Missy as representative of the Recreation Commission. The Recreation Commission has voted a new member who will be approved at the next, it's on the agenda for the next selectmen's meeting.
Yeah.
So we will have a new member on the committee from the Recreation Committee. Again, I spoke with another member of the Historical Commission who's interested in joining, so we'll see if she's, I'll double check with her and see if she's still interested in joining. And hopefully we have prospects now for the Businessmen's Association. So any other ideas on recruiting or any other people that you are interested? Okay. I will check in with Dawn and the town administrator either Friday or next week and get clarified the subcommittees. And then I think we need to start recruiting of them too. So I have several people that are interested in being on the parade committee. Jana, I think you have a few that might want to be on the gala, correct? Yep. And it sounds like you have a good group started. So
Oh, we
interested.
hope.
So,
Right?
okay. So, that's all I have on recruitment.
Right. Anything else?
All right, anything under new business?
No, it's all old business, right?
Yeah. And nothing else under old business, correct? I think we covered it all.
The next meeting is going to be the March meeting, the second, third Wednesday. What meeting? When is it?
Third,
Third
yeah.
Wednesday,
March 20th.
March 20th.
I have a commitment that day, so I will not be here. So
So what
if
do we
you-
want to
it's
do?
up to you if you want to continue to have the meeting, if you want to
No.
just wait till the following month, we can skip the March meeting. It's up to you.
Yeah, do you need anything to get, when's the deadline to get information to Kathy?
I was gonna get it out to us, tomorrow.
Oh, great,
Yeah,
okay, so we don't
so-
need to have a meeting for budget on
Nope.
March, so we should wait till
Oh,
April.
Matt,
Yeah.
Okay. And I will get emails out and, when we find out about subcommittees, we can.
Yeah,
get
so in the
those going
meantime,
you can
yeah,
just send it.
Exactly.
Right, right.
So, okay.
Okay.
So, our next meeting will be, the third weekend in April, April 17th.
Mhm.
30. Alright, so hearing nothing else in new business, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
I second.
Okay, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
right.
All right.
Aye.